And a physical form of resistance. Stoli Group has launched a limited edition Stoli vodka bottle to raise money for Ukraine. The aim to raise $1 million for the World's Central Kitchen, an organisation helping feed Ukraine's refugees. And it's not the first time they've chosen to act. Stoli Group, which owns Stolichnaya Vodka, changed the drink's name to just Stoli after Russia invaded Ukraine. Although founded in Russia, the company moved production to Latvia back in 2000. Stoli quickly condemned Russia's attack, saying it has a long history of fighting the Russian regime. Joining us now is Damian McKinney, CEO of Stoli Group. Damian, great to have you on the show once again. The money, the $1 million that you hope to raise, is vitally important, but I do think it's bigger than this. It's about doing something in a moment where many of us feel a long way away and unable to do something to help.
Julia, thank you. Nice to see you again. Yeah, look, it is about action. It's very easy, I suppose, to do quick fixes, and I don't believe ours was a quick fix at the beginning. We were very clear, and I think I said at the time this was very personal. The question is, what next? And I think, and if you probably, I'm not sure if you can see it, but we have this beautiful bottle here, and our view was got two different angles on this one. One is, and I was listening to your commentary around the possible declaration of war. The question is, what are we doing to stand by Ukraine? And more importantly as well, beyond the colours of Ukraine, but also there's this dove, because it is also about really reinforcing that it's about freedom and peace at the end of the day. And none of us can accept watching refugees and the sort of humanitarian atrocities that are going on at the moment. So we really want to ensure that this stays front and center in everybody's mind. I think there's a second piece in this, Julia, which is, again, the great work that World Central Kitchen is doing. And we as a team came together, and again, the lovely thing is it's very organic from all the team around the world, and said, what can we do to further support them? Hence the $1 million. And when you look at the sort of statistics emerging, they are producing over 300,000 meals a day across, I think it's something like 2,400 locations. And using over 400 different restaurateur supply organizations. So being able to work in partnership with them to really make a difference on the ground, for us, again, is a real sense of action. I think there's a final piece to all of this story, is I really think it's a moment of reflection, I hope, for all of us. The one thing that I give credit to our consumers, they are intelligent, thoughtful people who I'm sure not only watching this, but are clearly looking at brands and are saying, in every shape or form, I want these to be brands that I can, obviously there's a great experience, etc., and they look lovely, but can I really trust them? And I think it's more than just how they're produced. It's what the organization stands for. And I believe, and we believe in Stoli, that this is a moment where we want to continue to stand tall and provide the appropriate leadership that says, let's keep Ukraine very much center of mind, and importantly, continue to drive this sense of peace and freedom around the world.
Yeah, a representation of peace. We're familiar with World Central Kitchen on this show. Nate Mook has been on talking about their work. They're brilliant and they're incredibly brave, and some of their workers were injured recently as well. So I can't say more than you have on that. Our support fully behind them as well. What about for your Ukrainian employees as well? Because as you said, consumers are smart. They recognize a brand. They also want to be invested in something that is providing some support and solidarity. But what about for your Ukrainian workers as well? How do they view this bottle and the stance?
No, yeah, they're very proud of it. It is a beautiful symbol of resistance, as it's being referred to. Jokingly, one of our Ukrainian employees said, this has got to be Putin's worst nightmare to see Stoli with the Ukrainian colours. But so they feel that very strongly that we're standing for the right cause. I think, secondly, from our point of view, we continue to support them. We've recruited a number of people over the last few weeks. By the way, this is not just charity. They are extraordinarily capable people from those markets as well. So isn't it wonderful that you could help and have these amazing people? And it's not just the employees. What we've been doing is, I think I mentioned in the last time we talked, of actually putting moving them to Latvia and making sure the families are well set up. That's going really well. And I think I mentioned also that we had one of our team whose mother was very ill. We moved her to Luxembourg hospital rather, the Luxembourg hospital for free, lent into the challenge as well, and done some amazing work. And she's now hopefully in recuperation and all, hopefully it'll be a very positive story.
Fingers crossed. You were also writing to one of your employees who'd become a soldier as well, and you were talking to us about your experiences and the loneliness of that. How's he doing too? Because I've often thought about him.
Yeah, thank you for that. No, the first thing is he's safe and well, but I suppose it's two points. One is I wrote to him last night. I spoke to his wife today. I think the key is that he knows we're there, because however much we think things may or may not be improving, those dark hours are still very much upon them. And when you make the comment that you did, that the possible declaration of war, there are still some very dark moments ahead. I think there's a second casualty in all of this, and therefore person we need to look after actually is the spouses, is the partners. And it was interesting talking to her this morning, because the pressure is really telling there as well. They've been separated for a quite a long period of time. She's got a beautiful son in this particular case, and it's actually making sure she's okay.
Yeah, our hearts are with all of them, and yes, their stories as resonant and relevant as those that are fighting too. It's all a form of fighting, I think. When you were on last time as well, we talked about the decisions that you'd made with your supply chain, that you'd moved your ethanol purchases to Slovakia. That was costing more money. The sort of challenge that represented for some of the Russian farmers and the suppliers and the distributors. I just wanted to hear about more broadly about the sort of the business challenges that you faced and the pricing pressures as well, because there are many spheres to this beyond the human cost that obviously is very, very close fit for your company and for your people too.
No, thank you, Juliet. Look, I think everybody's facing inflation and of one kind or another, driven by energy, etc. We have a particular, and we're all facing those, and we're all having to manage costs as best we can. I think in the particular, however, we looked at very much how could we not just deal with the Russia piece, but actually we had a lot of employees, as you rightly said, in Ukraine, where we closed down factories. The good news is we are reopening them. So wherever we can, we are reopening the factories, and indeed getting people back to work and getting the system up and running. So whatever we can do to support them to do that I think actually has almost become a top priority, because that's important for the sort of self-esteem, let alone from a sort of market economy perspective. Beyond that, we'll continue to work with the markets like Slovakia and Poland, etc., to take up the slack when it comes to production. Beyond that, we're, like I said, everybody's managing inflation, but actually we're feeling very confident now that having sort of adapted to the situation, even more so that Ukraine's coming back online, that we've got a very good future ahead.
And are you finding workers where you're reopening the factories there? Because obviously some of the men are fighting, there's other responsibilities and people have left. Are you managing to find people to work there and bringing old employees back, or hiring new, or both?
Both is the short answer. It's a great one. Look, it's a balancing act, but as the battle sort of moves away, those quite a lot of, as you know, sort of territorial type soldiers are able to double hat and go back to work. So and a lot of women who are leaning in and also working. So it's a and I didn't mean that in a pejorative sense. It's a complete team effort here, and as one partner, whether a male or so a man or woman is fighting, the man or woman who stayed behind or is doing something else is also leaning in to pick up some of these other tasks, including the work in the factories.
Damian, great to have you with us. Thank you so much for your insights again, and we'll chat again soon. Damian McKinney, the CEO of Stoli Group.